The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at Ulike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ulike.com. Ulike. With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Just use AmpPace.
AmpPace.
Right, it is the Pete Sousa Show. It is what the hell is today? Wednesday, on this clumsy holiday week, as we still all kind of knock the dust off, at least for me, from the Memorial Day weekend. Thank you to Slovacics, of course. Also, thank you to Crawford Austin Properties. You got to thank Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers. Injury lawyers you can trust, injury lawyers you love. And you love them because they provide a safe space for people. Literally, if you've been done wrong, you've been in an accident, you kind of walk away from it. You're like, wait a minute, what just happened? And if you feel like, you got screwed over, you call Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers and they help you sort it out. My personal experience, and it was a good one. It turned a bad experience into a manageable one. I'll say that when I talk to Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers. And Slovacics, can't forget about them. Hoping to see Ray today out in West Texas, and you know the deal. If you're on 35, you're looking for a place to stop, make a pit stop in Austin, Dallas, Dallas, Austin, you got to stop in West, and you got to go to Slovacek's, all right? That's the deal. The deal last night in the NBA, wow. The Indiana Pacers, victorious over the New York Knicks, and it was a situation where I felt like Indiana just dominated the whole game. And, you know, the insight for me stops and starts at Tyrese Haliburton. It's undeniable, right? 32 points, 15 assists, 12 rebounds, no turnovers, and 4 steals. A little bit of insight. You know, Joker and Oscar Robertson are the only players in NBA playoff history to have a game with 30 points, 15 assists, and 10 rebounds. And this is the only player in playoff history to put up at least 30 points, 15 assists, and 10 rebounds without a turnover since turnovers were tracked in 1977, 1978. Shout out to my man, Harvey Pollack, and the Stats Mafia in Philadelphia, the NBA Stats Mafia. By the way, I was born in 77. That could have had something to do with me. Like, I came out of the womb. They were like, look, this guy's going to turn the ball over all day long. We got to come up with a statistic to track this madness. It's actually the first win by either team, the Knicks or the Pacers, on a home court in this series. And that doesn't really bode well for the Knicks, who head back to MSG, where they're 3-5 in the playoffs. They will try to force a Game 7, a Game 6, but it's not looking good right now for Knicks fans. And Tyrese Haliburton is one great reason why. His ascension has been not necessarily meteoric. I was thinking about his career today. You know, Iowa State, 2 years there, a pass-first guy. I can remember when he was at Iowa State, he recorded 17 assists in a game. I know that just from calling games myself, looking through, like, you know, Iowa State's record books when somebody's having a big game. And you see, wow, who had more assists, right? Well, nobody's ever had more than Tyrese Haliburton in a single game for Iowa State. That sort of showed early on just the way that he plays, unselfish, right? Everybody else first. And he's been able to rise to the occasion. Last year in those Eastern Conference Finals against the Celtics where they got swept, he got hurt early in the series. And I think it was a hamstring, but it was definitely in Game 1 or Game 2, and he missed the rest of the series. So now we're really getting to see him on the biggest of stages, right? Play clutch basketball. What he turned in last night and the level of consistency he has shown throughout the playoffs after that garbage, he got tagged with the most overrated player in the NBA, voted on by his peers, by the way, which I don't care what you say. That's got to piss you off a little bit. And maybe that's led to some of this motivation. You know, I don't know, but either way, it has been an amazing postseason run for Indiana. And although it's not the sexiest matchup in the world, it certainly seems like we are headed for Indiana, Oklahoma City in the NBA Finals. Oklahoma City will look to wrap things up tonight. I think an 8.5-point favorite at home against Minnesota. But Indiana has just been absolutely amazing. Haliburton, one of the reasons why. Looking back on his career, remember, he was acquired by Indiana in a trade with the Kings. I think it was like Buddy Hield. I wrote it down, actually, so let's stop thinking. It was Hield, Haliburton, and Tristan Thompson. They went to Indy for Domantas Sabonis, Justin Holiday, Jeremy Lamb, and a 2023 second-round pick. And that was a real good trade for the Pacers. At the time, Rick Carlisle was extremely complimentary of Tyrese Haliburton, and I think that that's one of those trades where, you know, he went 12 to the Sacramento Kings in that 2020 draft, and here he is in his 5th season in the NBA, really putting his mark on the league. I'm super interested to see, you know, because last night was a signature game. Last night was the type of game that can define a career. But the consistency separates you from everybody else. And winning an NBA championship is something that will etch your name in the history books forever. Does he have the moxie? Does he have the skill set? Does he have the oomph to pull that off? We'll find out here in a little bit, it looks like. On the other side for the Knicks, those dudes, if there's one thing I can tell, they're gassed. They are absolutely gassed. There was one moment in a huddle last night where Tom Thibodeau is telling his team, hey, we got to sprint back, right? This is like, I think in the second or third quarter. We've got to get back. We can't, let them like out hustle us. But the fact of the matter is they just didn't have the gas in the tank. And that's, people say Tibbs plays too many guys or doesn't play enough guys. He played 10 guys in the first half last night by necessity, but they were gassed. The Knicks were gassed, and it showed up in the final score. And Jalen Brunson, I'm not going to say that, like, the tank is empty for him. He's been amazing. And stars, I think we can be very hard on stars in the NBA, in the playoffs in general. Because it's a cutthroat deal. I mean, you want to be one of the greats. You want to perform in the playoffs. You have to step up in big moments. But there's also been times where stars in the past have completely laid eggs in playoff games, in NBA Finals games. You can think about Isaiah with the turnover against Boston. Magic completely melting away against the Celtics, right, early in his career after he experienced such great success as a rookie in the NBA Finals. Like, it happens. It's up and down. And so I'll be interested to see how Jalen Brunson responds throughout the rest of this playoff series. And look, this is how it goes. We could be talking 2 days from now, back with the Go New York, go, when, if you're the Knicks and you're Tom Thibodeau, it's one game at a time. One game at a time, and you can do it. But it's one game at a time, and you filter out all the noise. The problem I see is, like, as much as, like, all the excitement and everything around playing in Madison Square Garden and the Knicks playing a playoff game at home, I do feel like there's a weird pressure that comes with that. But there's no reason the Knicks shouldn't be playing totally loose tomorrow night and just ready to go out rip-roaring, right? I mean, just leave it all on the floor. So that's, waking up this morning, all I could think about was the NBA. Another thing I wanted to think about, this broke just after our show yesterday, right? Baylor basketball. Last week we talked to King McClure on this show, Baylor great ESPN analyst. And King talked about where Baylor is going. And, King is connected with that athletic. Went kind of deep in the fact that Baylor is sort of college coaches and programs all across the country are recalibrating, right? They're trying to figure out what works for them in this current environment. NIL, right? Big time money. We're going to talk a little bit about the NIL situation in BYU as it relates to what's happening with them right now with their star quarterback in some possible legal trouble, and how that could affect the fact that, if you want to have these great athletes, you're going to give them a ton of money. What are you getting that comes with all of that, right? And that's a tough situation to navigate, but I want to dive into that in a little bit. But we go back to Baylor. We have constantly talked and adored Scott Drew and his staff, right, past and present, for finding a way not only to recruit the best players in the country and have them come play in Waco, Texas in the Big 12 at Baylor, but also, I mean, they've all, like, those 5-star recruits and guys like VJ Edgecombe, right? Like, they've proven their worth. Not only, and VJ's about to do it in the NBA, he's going to be a top 4 pick, right? Like, take it to the bank. But these guys play well at Baylor, right? I mean, and they're freshmen, right? We're talking about the one and dones here. But ultimately, they go to the NBA and they contribute there and they play well there. Even some of the guys that weren't these 5-star recruits are still playing at Baylor and ending up in the NBA. Now, last year, I think, and I'm not saying it happened when Rob Wright left to go to BYU, and that situation was just, it was tough, it was awkward, it was ugly, right, hearing from everybody involved. But it's over now, right, and you move forward. And it looks like Baylor, part of their progress forward is a different type of player. And when I say a different type of player, it is more of a development game. Now, you look at who they just brought in, Tunde Yesufu. That guy was, we talked about the fact that he showed out at the Hoop Summit, was probably the best player on the floor, was amazing at the McDonald's game. He is someone who could come in and, he's your typical Scott Drew one and done. Okay, but moving forward, around him, it would appear that Baylor is not actually going after that typical one-and-done five-star guy. Look no further than Elijah Williams. Now, he is a four-star recruit, San Antonio, Texas. Monty Williams is his dad, okay? He was, as of yesterday, our buddy who's been on the show many times, Paul Biancardi, actually broke the news, and it was a big story because Elijah Williams is a top 40 recruit. I think he's ranked 36 overall by ESPN. And he will come to Baylor, not this year, but the next one. And another guy this is a four-star recruit. It's funny. Andre Iguodala, I guess the second, right? Andre Iguodala's son, a future Hall of Famer, I would say, Andre Iguodala. He is now a four-star. I remember when Baylor, like, that's how that stuff works, right? When Baylor signed him, I did all this research. He was a three-star. Now he's a four-star. But okay, great. These two guys, what do they have in common? Well, they both have NBA fathers, okay? Throw that out there. Another thing they have in common, it is not a race to the bank for these guys. And I'm not saying that for these other superstars it has been, right? Like they've been hard up for cash and they had to get their poverty-stricken family out of a tough situation. But the one-and-dones, I mean, even back to Yves Missi, right? Like, Baylor didn't expect him to be one-and-done, but he was. He was so good, he did what he had to do and what was right for him and his family or whoever and moved on. And he had an amazing year as a rookie in the NBA. That guy is sensational, by the way. So the move now, I mean, just reading, look, yesterday this comes out, and I wanted to read this, right? So this story comes out, and you see that Baylor signs a top 40 recruit. It's Elijah Williams, and, like, there's a lot of celebration around this, just even around the country, that the fact that people know where this dude's going to school now because he's committed to Baylor. But when you read, like, the scouting report, I've never seen this kid play. Obviously, he's a bright guy. He plays at Episcopal TMI. That's in San Antonio. His dad is the coach there. But when they break down his skill set, and Paul Biancardi does this, right, for ESPN, and Paul is one of the best in the business, so obviously this is legit. But it seems kind of basic. And when I say basic, it doesn't mean it's bad, okay? But he thrives at the free throw line, okay? He's a skilled post scorer for a wing. Terrific positional rebounding ability. Straight line driver who can make shots on all three levels, right? But another thing that, and this is important too in today's day and age, but again, I think it's revealing about exactly how explosive this young guy is. He understands the basics, boxing out, footwork, moving the ball, and cutting. Okay, that's terrific, right? But this is not VJ Edgecombe, okay? This is not one of those high-profile, high flyers who will take off in November and end up landing next June in the NBA, right? It's a different look. And this speaks to where Baylor is going with their program. The same can be said for Andre Iguodala. A typical, like, again, a great athlete. Andre Iguodala's dad, it was like, that was who, you know, it's funny, when Andre Iguodala's father was playing at Arizona, and I was working in Charlotte in the NBA when the Sixers drafted him. The Sixers wanted him so bad, and he fell to them. Like, a couple people didn't pick him, and I think he fell to the Sixers at 9. But if there was one thing about Andre Iguodala that everyone could agree on, it was that he was an amazing athlete. Amazing athlete. I can remember when I was working in Charlotte, it was the game before the All-Star break. They were, the Sixers were shooting around, and Allen Iverson was on the team, and I was party to this. They were actually, Iguodala was either a rookie or in his second year, and they were practicing dunks for Andre Iguodala to do at the dunk contest, which he subsequently went. I don't think he won it, but he ends up going to the dunk contest. They're literally, Iverson's out of bounds, and he's tossing the ball off the backboard, and Iguodala's coming from out of bounds, grabbing the ball as it tosses off the back of the backboard, reversing around and dunking it. Like, we're talking elite next-level athlete. Now, I don't think we're going to see that particularly from his son, but the DNA is there. But still, right, although the athleticism may be intact, one thing that is not intact or one thing that is different from a lot of these players that came before him, again, we're not talking about a race to the bank. We're not talking about a guy who is coming to college for one reason and one reason only, to get paid as quickly as possible. This is a much different culture, right, that Baylor is building. And I believe that culture is something that can lead to great success. And that's what King McClure said last week. And King, of course, dialed in with the Big 12, dialed in with Baylor basketball, knows exactly how that's going. King feels like, hey, this program is actually going back to the basics as far as, because last year, if you think about it, like, and again, you look at Tunde, I'm not saying Baylor is abandoning the blue chip 5-star recruit, but what they are embracing, right, is a little bit more of a tactile approach around that blue chip player. We're not talking about scanning the globe or spanning the globe for the best players available in the portal, right? That's not what's happening here. There are role players that are fitting the system that have been plucked out of the portal, and there are young guns like Tunde Yesufu, but there's also guys like this, like we're talking about. Like, I'll be honest, when I read that last night, the scouting report for Elijah Williams, I was like, like, really? He sounds like a bore. But then I snapped out of it. I was like, well, you know what? This actually sounds perfect, because, you know, doing what I do and having the opportunity and privilege of talking to coaches all over the country, they're really freaked out, right, by players coming into programs, players who you don't know, right, who you recruited out of the portal for like a couple weeks, and they end up on your campus. Yeah, they're great players, and yeah, maybe they're great guys, but you don't know them, and maybe they're not the type of guy that you would want in your program, the type of guy that you would have recruited. You look at this Elijah Williams, right? I mean, clearly he has been recruited by Scott Drew for a while, you know, like, and his dad is involved too. Monty Williams' quote, hey, he says, this is a quote, "Coach Drew is a man that I've watched for years as a coach and a man of integrity. He made Elijah a priority, and that meant the world to me." This has been going on for some time now. Elijah is shooting 41%, by the way, through 11 games in the Nike EYBL circuit, which is good news, because if this guy can shoot the three, of course, in today's college basketball and today's basketball, that will be fantastic. Bear the Truth, Scotty B, the Baylor King, thank you guys so much for weighing in. Everybody that is checking us out here on this Wednesday morning. We're going to come back, dive in a little bit to the situation, what's happening with BYU and their quarterback, Jake Retzlaff. BYU 11-2 last year. There is so much excitement around that program and around that athletic department. But where are they going to go with the quarterback now who is in peril, right? Like, is Jake Retzlaff going to play? Is he not going to play? I've got a theory on that, and I also have some information to back up the theory I'm about to present, and that's coming up next on the Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovagics.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Our research-backed bioavailable formulas are crafted with your health in mind, ensuring the highest quality and safety. From preconception to pregnancy and beyond, we exceed industry standards with independent testing for harmful contaminants. With our comprehensive practitioner directory, personalized care is always within reach. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at fullwellfertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. We use the finest materials like Italian top-grain leather, known for its durability and luxurious feel, and apply meticulous attention to detail in every piece we create. Our replicas are crafted with the same care and precision as the originals, but a price that makes them accessible. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. Using advanced tech fabrics that are 100% waterproof, UV tear, and abrasion-resistant, we ensure lasting durability with hand-sewn double-stitch seams. Our commitment to quality, precision engineering, and customizable options is unmatched. With vertically integrated operations and express shipping, we deliver premier protection at affordable prices. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels, our rebounders improve accuracy, control, and technique in both sports. Built with premium materials for durability and ease of use, they're ideal for training anywhere, anytime. Whether you're perfecting your soccer game or sharpening your lacrosse skills, Open Goal USA has you covered. Visit OpenGoAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
The Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovacics, and is done before a live studio audience. Mike Hamilton is in here. We got Mike Hamilton. We got Zach on the wheels of steel. I'm lining him up. He's knocking him down, or vice versa. And, of course, we're presented by Slovacics. And thank you to Daniel Sark Injury Lawyers and Crawford Austin Properties and everybody who's making this possible right now, especially Socorro Family Ford. Just a lot of good stuff going on with the show right now as we continue to grow. We literally are knocking on the door of 20,000 subscribers. And in less than a year, that's pretty cool. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Talked about Tyrese Haliburton off the top. We're going to get into the Indiana Pacers a little bit more and the fact that they are now trying to put the finishing touches on the Knicks and get to the NBA Finals. Would be an amazing deal. But the Pacers have not won an NBA championship. ABA, yeah, but not in the NBA. And so, and if they face the Thunder, we'll get a first-time champ. Again, the Seattle Sonics winning an NBA Finals, but never with the Oklahoma City Thunder or in Oklahoma City. So, whether you like it or not, or maybe you're not excited because it's not a sexy, huge market matchup, you've still got Tyrese Haliburton, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and it should be a lot of fun. But Oklahoma City just looks so good now. Again, an 8.5-point favorite against Minnesota tonight. I'm staying away because I have not been doing well lately. So this is a tough story, and I have to follow up on it because it plays a lot into what I cover, working for the Big 12 and calling college football and basketball for the Big 12 for ESPN. The Jake Retzloff situation continues to play out in the court of public opinion, but it won't play out in court, right, for another year at least. Well, we're 95 days away from BYU playing their first game against Portland State. And when you think about the strength of BYU as a school, as a program, and the moral high ground that they try to work, they really are trying to do the right thing by the university, the right thing by the student athlete. There's also a particular set of circumstances that athletes agree to, the honor code, when they go to play at BYU, that factor in. And this thing with Jake Retzloff is a mess. Why is it a mess? Well, it's sad because it involves a young woman who has put these allegations forward. And it's also sad because, the police have said we can't, there's not enough evidence to investigate, but it's certainly a civil suit is something that you do investigate, or they're going to investigate. That's what this is. And a civil suit, by the way, is not as hard to prove, right? I'm not an attorney, but just talking to attorneys and knowing a little sliver about law and honestly just reading a lot about this case. A civil suit is not as hard to prove. It's not like proving a case in regular court. See, there you go, my lack of law skills. But it's not quite as hard to prove. But BYU has a ton of resources, right? All over the country, but certainly in that area. And you can bet, Brian Santiago, their new athletic director, who sent out an email last night to everyone, and in that email, he did not reference Jake Retzloff, and I want to pull up a quote, but he did talk about the honor code. Remember, Santiago was just named athletic director less than 2 weeks ago. But he says, look, hey, through it all, our commitment is clear. We will strive for excellence, but we will do it the right way, the BYU way, okay? We will succeed as an athletics program precisely because of our alignment with BYU's mission and values. Well, I mean, if even half of this Jake Retzloff accusation is true, we're talking about an honor code violation. And time is of the essence for BYU. And I have a couple things here, just feelings I have from following BYU and knowing about the Big 12, and also seeing we're in a brand new space here with everyone across the landscape of college sports. And BYU has been extremely successful in that new landscape. Why? Well, you could say Kalani Sitake and Kevin Young, and the fact that their basketball and football programs have been close to elite. I mean, 11-2 last year, BYU's football team went. Surprised a lot of people, nevertheless, kicked a lot of ass. Same thing with BYU basketball, right? Sweet 16 last year. You look at the players they're bringing in, high-profile recruits who command the resources and the finances. The school and the church are making that work, right? And also the supporters of BYU athletics. I'm not saying it's just the church or anything, but there's a lot of momentum behind this right now. The issue with Jake Retzloff is it violates what BYU was all about if this is true, right? But in today's day and age, in today's sports, and the type of athlete, and I'm not saying great athletes can't be great young men and can't follow honor codes or can't follow certain rules, but it's a precursor. And Gordon Monson wrote a great column today in the Salt Lake City Tribune, or the Salt Lake Tribune. He's a great columnist, and I try to read most of his stuff. This was must read this morning because he talks about, the allegations against Jake Retzloff and how that puts BYU at a bit of a crossroads here. And the reason it puts the school at a crossroads is because this is almost like a test case, right? You are now, BYU as you look at the quarterbacks from BYU, even back from when I was a kid. I mean, just all the way back to Mark Wilson, right? Who was a great Raider quarterback, or good enough. I know Al Davis loved him because he had a cannon. Robbie Bosco, Steve Young, Jim McMahon, Ty Detmer, Steve Sarkisian. Sark, right? So I even got Zach to look up after that. There's a long line of really good BYU quarterbacks, okay? But when you look at some of the athletes they're bringing in basketball-wise, and just some of the next level recruits, this is something that they could run into again. And I'm not saying that there'll be any amendment made to the BYU honor code or how it's enforced, but this situation could be a precursor of what's to come with the new landscape of college sports, specifically for a school like BYU, who doesn't have the wiggle room, per se, behavior-wise, that other athletic programs have. However, they still have found a way within the body of that honor code to operate as a very high-functioning and successful athletic department. This is a new day and age for BYU. I know they'll figure it out. I don't think this is by any means like a situation that they won't figure out and won't breeze right through. Here's another theory I have. Jake Retzoff, by the way, could still end up playing this year. That decision will have to be made, and it talks about this a little bit in Gordon Monson's column. The BYU will have to make that decision sooner than later, which brings, and definitely before this case goes to any kind of civil court. Well, one piece of good news is, and this is what I mentioned about BYU and their resources all over the country and in Salt Lake, you can bet that they've got a team of people who are very qualified to figure out exactly what went on in this situation. And when they figure out what went on in that situation, they will make a decision based on that. And this is an athletic department that is not afraid of making a decision that would be unpopular as long as it is aligned with their moral values, right? And their true belief as to what they know is right and wrong. If they find out that this civil allegation holds up and it's legitimate, Jake Retzoff will not play for BYU. If they find out that he's innocent, right, and they do more investigating and figure out how their honor code was or was not broken, they'll move forward from there with the decision on the future of the program. I don't really worry about their decision-making process and how they'll do it. I honestly feel better about BYU and their athletic department and an ability to manage a situation like this more so than any other program, or many other programs, I should say. I think being here in Central Texas, Baylor is another one that would do a tremendous job of figuring this out. But I will say the difference between Baylor and BYU is BYU has better resources around the state, right, of Utah, where they can find out what's going on here. I mean, Baylor being a private school, I know BYU's too, but it's different. Like, I just don't, Baylor doesn't have the reach that a BYU does. So they're going to get to the bottom of this, right? And they're going to figure it out. Well, if they figure out that Jake Retzoff can't play, and by the way, I don't mean to seem callous about this situation. Again, it's a sad deal, right? That we're talking about this. And it's so difficult to navigate. But when you look at being 95 days away from the college football season, you start to think about, okay, September or August 30th against Portland State, what's going to happen? Well, I can tell you what probably will happen. BYU is going to take the field and they're going to beat up on Portland State. And Jake Retzoff might not be the quarterback, but that does not mean that BYU will not have a very good football team. Jay Hill's defense has gotten better in the offseason. BYU has a bevy of talented young quarterbacks, Bear Brockmeyer being one of them, just transferring him from Stanford. Last year, if you look at the numbers, Jake Retzoff threw as many interceptions, 12, just as many as any other starting quarterback in the Big 12. His quarterback efficiency rating was 8th. We're not talking about a guy who won the Heisman Trophy. Yes, there was a leadership and an aura around Jake Retzoff that was magical to watch. And they found a way to win games thanks to his leadership a lot of times. Like, the ball was bouncing the Cougars' way, and I think that had a lot to do with his leadership. It also had a lot to do with Kalani Sitake and the football program and the players that surround a guy like Jake Retzoff. Is the quarterback position the most important in college football? It's the most important position in sports, not just college football, in all of sports. So you've got to have that situation figured out. And I do believe that we will have a decision, whatever that decision is, rather quickly. And I have faith, as somebody who follows the Big 12 and wants to see the conference flourish, I have faith that it's all going to work out. And I really hope, and I'm talking about logistically as far as BYU is concerned and the school is concerned. You know, there's people involved here. And to me, that's like, it makes my heart ache. It really does, which is why it's tough to talk about this stuff. But that's our job, right, in sports media. We've got to talk about this, and we've got to find a way to share it with you guys based on all the facts that we have. And the facts that I see here is that we are heading into a new – I mean, obviously, we all know we're heading into a new era here in college sports. BYU is positioned to do very well in that new era, but there will be some new wrinkles and some new adjustments they may have to make. And I'm not saying they're going to compromise their belief system. I'm just saying that they're bringing in some of the best athletes on the planet right now. And most schools, since the beginning of time, have made adjustments around those elite athletes. BYU won't do that, but how will they find a way? Look, Gordon Monson says it here in his you're not like, to play at BYU. You don't have to be a card-carrying member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You can be a Catholic like me. You can be Jewish like Jake Retzloff. You can be Protestant. You can be whatever. But there is a certain set of rules and guidelines and an honor code that you've got to get down with. It's a whole new frontier. So I wish everybody the best in the situation. But, the update is not there's no update. The update is we're going to have an update soon. And it could really play into how BYU goes forward with this whole thing, with the Jake Retzloff thing, and with, you've got A.J. DeBonsa, one of the best basketball players, like I said, on the planet right now, who's getting ready to come play for you. And it's just it's interesting. They're recruiting the cream of the crop, and they're landing the cream of the crop. I'll be interested to see how things evolve, right, within that athletic department. But they're under the stewardship of Brian Santiago, and that's clearly he has got the right idea of how to manage BYU and their athletic department. He's been running around that university since he was 7 years old. He gets it. So nobody better to guide them through this situation. All right, the Pete Sousa Show. Nobody better to talk to us but a couple of guys from Indianapolis about the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks. We are coming back with a big segment around the Eastern Conference Finals. I got one more thing. Okay? I forgot about this. I really wanted to share this. So yesterday, I had a long weekend, right? Great weekend with my lovely fiance, but I was gassed. Zach and I were up here. We did the show yesterday. We did a bunch of stuff post-show. I went on the Cam Show, which you can find on the Rogue Media Network. But I went home, and I was like, man, I just kind of want to relax. I want to decompress. And so if you go on, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. If you go on Pluto, right? Like I'm a sober guy, okay? I have a program that I follow. I've been sober for a while now. And if I'm feeling jammed up, I know I can go to meetings for this particular 12-step program. I can plug in, change my perspective, right? Connect with some of my sober guys and have a clean view on the rest of my day. It can really recalibrate me. I went to a 12-step meeting last night over Zoom. But I also know if I want to lounge and feel good and have comfort like television, I can watch Beverly Hills 90210. So yesterday I put on Pluto and I put on Beverly Hills 90210. And I've seen it takes me back to when I was a kid. I have a weird memory. I know exactly where I was. I used to watch Beverly Hills 90210. I was a nerd in high school, especially my freshman and sophomore year. And I would watch that show in my parents' bedroom, prime time on Fox on Thursday nights. And I remember Emily Valentine. And the Emily Valentine storyline was Emily showed up, was a girl from a different part of the country, much like Brandon and Brenda Walsh a couple years before her, coming from Minnesota. And she's just a wild card, man. Emily had a rough go at it with her family. Unfortunately, I've probably dated a couple Emily Valentines in my life, and they're probably walking around saying, unfortunately, I dated a Pete Sousa. But, just a total wild card. She ends up kind of she goes off the rails on Brandon. And at one point, she's stalking him, and she finds a way to stay over his house. And she wears Brandon's Minnesota Twins 1987 championship jersey. And can you put this? I put up a tweet yesterday that nobody cares about. But there it is, okay? Now, that's Emily Valentine. Can you take that bar down at the bottom, Zach, so we can see the full Emily Valentine deal? And can we do that? There she is. So there's Emily, right? Let me read you the tweet that I put up, because this was I'm a stats nerd. I did talent stats for a long time in my life for the likes of Roy Philpott, Matt Devlin, I even did stats for Bob Trumpy once. You know, he's amazing. Okay, but here was my. You can tell I'm struggling getting this up. So here's the stat of the day. Ready? The Minnesota Twins. You can see it on your screen. Have won only 2 playoff series since Emily Valentine went off the rails and wore Brandon's jersey on the November 21st, 1991 episode of Beverly Hills 90210. And what did I put up top? It's better than the Cowboys. Think about that. They won the World Series in 91. And then after that, Emily Valentine in November of 91 wore that jersey against Brandon's wishes, by the way. He was pissed because she was stalking him. And it's been a curse for the Twins ever since. So if nobody told you about the Emily Valentine curse, there it is. The Pete Sousa Show rolls on, presented by Slovaceks after this. We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Founded in 1910, Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Made to the highest standards, our products won't let you down. We give you the confidence to get out there and explore. Inspired by the past, devoted to the present, and built to inspire a multi-generational future, Samsonite is here to elevate your journey. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite. Dive into adventure with scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Terrapin Ridge Farms, they believe in the joy of effortless entertaining. Inspired by CEO Mary O'Donnell's mom and her legendary holiday parties, they've crafted a line of gourmet foods that turn any meal into a celebration. From savory jams to mustards, aiolis, and more, their products are made with love, bringing unforgettable flavors to your table. Whether it's a casual get-together or a special occasion, they make it easy to impress. Terrapin Ridge Farms, where great food and great memories come together. Visit them at terrapinridge.com. Terrapin Ridge. Want to turn your passion into profit? With Blogify, creating a blog has never been easier. Build, customize, and grow your site with powerful tools designed for beginners and pros alike. Start sharing your story today and watch your audience grow with Blogify. Visit blogify.ai today for a free 3-day trial. That's Blogify, Blogify.ai today.
And now, back to our show. All right, the Pete Sousa Show rolls on with Liam Hall, All Indiana Sports. Look at that smile. It's undeniable. Liam's got a pod on the Rogue Media Network, and it is called All Indiana Sports. And they got that shit-eating grin this morning after the big win against the Knicks last night.
Oh, yeah.
Liam, dude, I mean, so Tyrese Haliburton just absolutely goes crazy. And for a lot of people watching the playoffs, especially because they're playing the Knicks, so it brings like extra like rando fans to the table.
Right.
People have never seen Haliburton show out like this. Last night, 32 points, 15 assists, 10 rebounds, no turnovers, 4 steals. Does a game like this or a prolific outburst like that surprise you from Tyrese Haliburton, or is that something you expect?
So as a Pacers fan, just watching everything, a triple-double kind of does surprise me. Normally he's that double-double. He'll get up into like the 12 assists, 20-plus points type of thing. The 0 turnover thing does it all year round. But the crazy thing is he was actually leading the team in rebounds. He had 12, and the next nearest guy was Pascal Siakam with 5. So he was leading the team in rebounds, leading the team in assists, and leading the team in points. No turnovers. It's a very historic night for him, but normally the Pacers are a team basketball type of team, and whenever you have some guys who just aren't clicking from their shots and stuff like that, you're going to have a weird game where you got to have someone just step up, and that was Haliburton last night.
Now, do you believe, like, Oklahoma City's playing out of their mind. They're favored by 8.5 tonight to beat Minnesota. You would think that they're going to seal the deal and end up punching their ticket to the NBA Finals. The same goes for you guys, right? You got a couple games here to finally drive the nail in the coffin against the Knicks. How do you think, and we can do this because we don't play, so it doesn't matter. We can kind of future trip a little. How do you think the Pacers would match up against the Thunder?
I've been thinking about this for a while because as soon as we played the Knicks, I'm like, okay, hopefully we get that series win because we've been pretty dominant against the Knicks recently in the playoffs. So I think the matchup is actually not better for the Pacers, but like it'll be more fun to watch Thunder versus Pacers rather than Thunder versus the Knicks because I think the Knicks don't match up well against the Thunder. And if you look at it, I think the Pacers and the Thunder match up actually really well. Their team dynamics are very similar. I think it's just a matter of which star players are going to produce what they do best. So,
where did you and your dad watch the game last night?
We were just in my living room. We were sitting down and children were asleep, so we weren't able to scream or anything like that. But we got really hyped. Pacers got the lead, kind of never let it go. So we were anytime Knicks could get close, someone hit a big three or something like that, go crazy. But not too crazy. So we just in the living room.
So I was watching the game, on TNT like everybody else.
Right.
And then I went upstairs. And when I go upstairs, I'm such a nut. Like I put on the Indiana Pacers radio call.
Oh, yeah.
And it just seemed like an explosion inside that arena. Like it is, you get a different like set of audio, right? When you're listening to on the radio as opposed to TV.
Right.
Yeah. What's the excitement level around Pacers fans right now? You never won an NBA championship, and now here you are flirting with your first.
I think honestly, there's a lot of excitement. I think a lot of the NBA fans who are maybe considered casuals or just have one specific team that isn't the Pacers, I'd say they're surprised a lot. But us as Pacers fans, I don't think we're all that surprised. Just because we've been seeing this game in and game out all year round. We went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. People are still surprised we're making it. Oh my goodness, the rain is crazy.
The rain's coming down, brother.
Yeah. So it's not as surprising to us as Pacers fans. Hold on, let me see if I can limit this rain as much as possible.
Look at this. We got Liam walking around this place trying to limit. Liam, you could be a weather guy too, maybe.
Oh, bro, with all the weather going crazy, maybe.
Oh, we lost him. There you go. Yeah, we'll go back to him. What do you say? Liam.
All right, we're good.
Liam,
Sorry.
That's all right. I got one more question for you, and then I'm going to let you go. So you're good.
Right, cool.
What is, when you talk about the Pacers, what is one thing about that team that the average fan does not know yet, but will learn as everyone watches this team, hopefully for you, in the NBA Finals?
I would say that kind of – so everybody knows about Haliburton because he's the star. People kind of know about Turner because he's been with the Pacers for so long. People know about Pascal Siakam because he won a chip in Toronto with OG, who's playing against right now. But I think the thing that people don't know and people are kind of realizing, especially like because Bucks Pacers, no one really watched that series except if you're a Bucks or Pacers fan. Cleveland, Indiana, kind of the same thing because it was Indiana again. But then you get to a big market team like the Knicks who are playing the Pacers. And so people don't take recognition until you play a team that already has recognition. And I think the Knicks and everyone else is equally realizing this, that not only do you have those big guys like Siakam, like Haliburton that can make plays, but you have people who maybe aren't well as known as like Neesmith or Nimhart, who can shoot the ball just as well as anyone else on the team. Obviously, you had Neesmith in game one go crazy with the comeback, 4 threes or 5 threes in the fourth quarter. So you just have guys like, I kind of like to look at it as the Pacers are kind of like a Swiss Army knife. You never know where you're going to get hit from, and you have to be ready for everyone because, like we saw last night, Nimhart Neesmith didn't have a great game, but Benedict Mathurin came up, and he had a really good game just in 12 minutes, 20 points. So he was contributing. So it really just depends on who's cooking that night and who the other team's going to give you.
All right, Liam Hall, man, thank you so much, dude. All Indiana Sports is the pod. You can catch him with his pops, Kevin Hall. They do a tremendous job here on the Rogue Media Network. We'll see if the Pacers can finish it off, dude, and we'll have you guys back on for the finals, man. Take it easy.
Yes, sir. All right. See you.
All right, that was Liam. Great chat there. The rain is coming down in Texas. We're going to take one quick break, and then we're going to come back and wrap it up. The Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovakics. We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com. Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Combine that with OrganicHemp.com's top quality CBD for ultimate balance. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and OrganicHemp.com. Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Calling all Marvel fans, get Marvel Unlimited and unlock over 30,000 comics featuring your favorite heroes and iconic stories, all available to read anytime, anywhere. Whether you're into classic tales or the latest adventures, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out. Head to marvel.com/unlimited today and start your Marvel journey now.
And now, back to our show. Sousa Show is back. Let's take a quick. I'm getting some breaking news here. I'm not sure that I should share it. Let me give me 1 second here. Second source. Yeah, we're not going to share this right now, but we'll be, if it's a legitimate report, we'll discuss it tomorrow. Yeah, but for now, we will say a goodbye and want you to have a great rest of the day. We'll be back tomorrow with Matt Babcock, former NBA front office personnel guy all over the league. And we're going to talk to him a little bit about the NBA draft. Appreciate you guys being with us today. And we will be back tomorrow morning on the Pete Sousa Show. Have a great rest of the day.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
We are Rogue Media Sports.